Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show this afternoon. Today's the last day of July, and you know what? The Fed did exactly as I expected. They dropped interest rates 25 basis points. And the exact thing that I've been saying, expecting to happen with cryptocurrency, has happened with this interest rate. Now, I kind of expect it to settle along a little bit. I expect that the Fed's going to have to cut rates again pretty soon. Everything is starting to slide into an abyss. Basically, if you don't know what I mean by that, is the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, they're in a pickle. The EU doesn't want a deal. A mosquito went by my ear. I hate that buzzing sound. Awful things. Awful insects. I don't know where he's come from. Anyway, they seem to get in anywhere. Anyway, Boris Johnson. He is a hardliner as far as leaving the European Union without a deal. Coming up, and it's coming real fast now. October 31st. Remember that date, by the way, Germany, is just keeping their head above water as far as going into a recession. Barely, And they're connected with trade lines between the United Kingdom and Germany. And they're trading partners. And, if the United Kingdom goes into a deep recession, is not purchasing as many goods from Germany, it wouldn't take much to put Germany now into a recession too. They're very, very close. And then there's the impact of the trade negotiations, and if they don't get a deal through with China, and I'm very doubtful myself if they're going to get a deal through with China. They're saying right now that this alone, just it by itself, could put the world economy into a recession. The whole world, basically, into a recession. This is going to be a global recession, by the way. And it's going to be something similar to 2008. The Lehman Brothers of this one might be Deutsche Bank. Might be the Lehman Brothers of this particular recession. And Deutsche Bank is 10 times more derivatives products than Lehman Brothers. They're 10 times. They're about 10 times the effect that Lehman Brothers had if Deutsche Bank goes down. I don't see how Deutsche Bank's going to stay afloat. They're chopping their bank to pieces. How is that going to make them more productive and make them more viable in the financial community as a bank? Basically, they're cutting themselves down smaller and smaller. And I don't see how that's going to even save them. It's just a temporary measure to keep the wolf away from the door from Deutsche Bank, and it's probably only going to last a few months. Probably only going to last until October 31st. Honest to gosh, we got all these problems. The impact of this next recession, I believe, is going to be total and utter panic in the investment community. Bitcoin stands out like a shining beacon, and the reason why is because everybody out there, and pension funds, you name it, they're all looking for yield. All of a sudden, this year, cryptocurrency is the best yielding investment of them all. It's the best yield. And there's no yield in anything else. For crying out loud, when like they're out there buying 50-year Italian bonds and stuff like that, trying to chase yield, and there's no yield to be had anywhere. They can't buy gold and silver. There's no yield in it, and the price. Okay, yeah, gold and silver's went up just a little bit, and I expect it to go up a lot later, but its track record up till now for the last few years has not been all that great. Starting to get a little bit better track record. It's getting noticed a little bit more. You know, this is the way markets work. I'm going to explain how markets work. Honest to gosh, if something is cheap, they don't want it. They want it when it's on its way to the moon and it's all the way up there and it's in a bubble. Then they want it. This is the way human nature works, you know. So you got gold and silver's been languishing a long time, and they're cheap right now and everything. They don't want it. When they want it is when gold's going to be like $3,000 an ounce and silver's going to be like $150 an ounce, and they're going to be buying it like crazy, and it's going to be flying off the shelves. It's the way mentality works, and this is the way markets work. And it's the same way with cryptocurrency. The higher cryptocurrency goes, the more attractive it becomes to investors. And if they're chasing yield, they say, oh, wow, you know, look, Bitcoin is $60,000 now and rising, let's all buy it. And they'll all jump on board. Capital right now is looking for a home. And the first place it went to was into U.S. Treasuries. That's where it went. That's where your capital went. But now, all of a sudden, you know, I mean, they're going to be, capital is going to start, as the financial crisis that we're embarking into becomes more advanced, capital is going to move around faster and faster within the system. Because they're all chasing yield. They're all looking for something, looking for a place to put their money that's safe. Gold and silver's just starting to catch a bid. Cryptocurrency seems like a safe investment too at a certain point. Once it's gone up high enough, then they start to think it's a safe haven asset. See, markets. It's all a mental thing. That's what a lot of people don't realize. It's all confidence. It's all your perception. Price on anything is perception. This is what it's all about. And if they perceive that it's a good investment, then it becomes a good investment. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, whereas success breeds success. So if something is going up higher and higher and higher and it's very successful, then everybody jumps on board and that makes it go up all the higher, which makes it even more successful. Where things that aren't successful, that aren't doing good, they get the money yanked out of them. And they go down even more. It doesn't matter what the product is. It doesn't matter if it's gold, silver, Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what it is. It all functions the same way. It's all psychology, how markets actually function. You know? And cryptocurrency right now is starting to look really good. It's starting to stand out like a sore thumb within the investment community. Its track record looks good. They take a look at the charts, these guys, and they look all the way back to the start of Bitcoin, and they don't pay attention to the bubbles. Their minds is fixated. When they're looking at the Bitcoin charts, these professional traders, their mind is fixated on the bottom line, which is Bitcoin was 20 cents back in whatever, 2010 or whatever, and now it's over $10,000. They just look at that bottom line, and they don't see any of the movement in between. They just say, look, here we have something that's increased so many fold over these years, and they can just see that increasing so much more again on the way up. And that's all they see. They're myopic. They only think about making money. That's all anything means to them, is making money. Bitcoin's going to start to really stand out and look good to them, because right now, nothing else is profitable. There's nothing. There's nothing that's moving like cryptocurrency. Gold and silver's not moving like cryptocurrency. Sure, they go up 30 cents and then they fall 15 cents the next day. You know? Cryptocurrency, though. Wow, look at the profits coming in. And investors are going to start to really hop on board. It's starting to be the buzzword. Seriously. And this is why we could go into such a massive bubble in the early part, because this fear is going to start to come in there too, and they're going to be looking for some place to put their money where they're not going to lose their investment. And they can get yield. Everything's coming together for the perfect storm and also the depreciation and value of the fiat currencies. It's all coming together as a perfect storm to drive Bitcoin into a massive bubble. And yes, it's going to be a bubble. And when this bubble pops, when it first pops, it's going to fall a lot, and then it's going to stop and it's going to bounce. You're not going to be able to hit that top. That top's going to happen so fast. It's going to shoot up in the middle of the night when you're in bed. You know, it's going to shoot up to this massively high price, and then it's going to fall. By the time you wake up next morning, it's going to be fell back down again. The rich people, they got trading algorithms and robots and everything else, bots and everything else to hit that top. But you can't. And it'll be back down again by the time you get it out there. But then it'll bounce. It'll bounce a little bit. And that's when you can actually hit it. If you know, you can actually move the trade. You know, and I'm gonna tell you what. I think that when she does the dead cat bounce, she goes all the way up to, I don't know how high it's going to go. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know how high, but I think it's going to be definitely much higher than its old high of 20,000. I think it's going to be quite a bit higher than that. I'm just going to say quite a bit higher. I don't know. I think it's going to go a lot higher than 20,000. And then when it pops, it's going to fall back down again. And I mean, you can sit there and you can ride that all the way to the top and ride it all the way back down again. If you're a HODLer, and it's going to be kind of like, how would that be? You know, to ride it all the way up to the top. Say it goes up to $150,000, and then you ride it all the way back down to where it's $12,000 again. It's going to be kind of disheartening, to tell you the truth. Because, you know, and this is why I say a lot of you guys are going to lose your Bitcoin. You're going to lose your Bitcoin when it goes all the way up to the top, pow. A lot of you guys are going to trade them off. You need that new kitchen cupboards, you know, you need something this and this and this. Get a profit take. You're going to lose most of your Bitcoin. If you're smart, you won't sell all of it. I don't know, you know, sell a little bit and take your profits, and then when it comes back down again, buy back in. That's a smart thing to do, you know. My consideration, you know, but a true dyed in the wool hardcore HODLer, he'll ride it all the way to the top and all the way back to the bottom again. But you know, she'll go back up again later. After it hits bottom again, it'll go along and it'll climb back up again. Because this is what Bitcoin does. Eventually, it is going to hit that 10 million or whatever mark. You know, eventually. But it might be a few years out, you know, before it gets there. Eventually, I think it is going to get there. And eventually, what we're looking at is a world where gold and Bitcoin are basically almost like the same commodity. This is eventually when Bitcoin gets where it's going. And people are going to trade gold back and forth, massive amounts of wealth, by moving Bitcoin. This is what I think is going to happen. Anyway, listen, talked a long time. Thank you guys for listening. Hey, and I got this deal right, you know. I figured Bitcoin was going to start to pull up a little bit and some energy start to come into it when they cut the basis points, 25 basis points, you know. And we'll see you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.